All right, and we're back for another episode of Healthy Dose Podcast. I got a very special guest tonight, Duane Clemons. He is a friend of ours. I actually saw Duane about 3-4 weeks ago out in Dallas, Texas, speaking to a group of about 300 doctors. And Duane is an amazing guy. First of all, let me tell you a little bit about him. He was the 16th overall draft pick in the 1996 NFL Draft, had a 10-year career, got drafted by the Vikings, played with KC, and played 4 years with the Cincinnati Bengals as a defensive end, where the average NFL career is about 2 years. So what's up, Duane?
Another great day in the gym, man. Just trying to get people healthy and spread the good gospel of non-invasive drug-free healthcare.
Yeah, listen, when I heard you speak, I mean, it just blew me away. Speaking to hundreds of doctors about, how you were treated in the NFL, how you personally were able to lengthen your career by really out-of-the-box treatments at that time. Let's go back to 1996. Let's go back to about 2000. You played at University of California. You played 4 years over there, Duane?
Yeah, I had a pretty good career in college. Started as a true freshman, and then as a sophomore, started as a true sophomore. Then redshirted, took a year off to gain some weight, and then came back and had one more prolific year, and then made All-American, broke a bunch of records for block kicks and PATs, and then got drafted and started my NFL career.
Now, I remember we were talking the other day. You said you came in and you saw these giants, right? And you said, I got to get like this. So the first thing you did is you had to gain some weight, right?
Yeah, I got into the college world, and I was only 212 as a true freshman. And so I was basically struggling just to even get my scholarship. My coach pretty much was thinking about taking it from me. And so I had to go to some other guys and try to figure out how to gain like 15 to 20 pounds. And that's a huge thing for a college athlete, trying to figure out how to put on weight safely, smartly, and stay eligible at the same time.
Yeah, you know what? And we're going to be talking today about how you really were able to treat your back pain non-invasively without drugs. But one of the things that we talk to our patients about is weight is a huge factor in that, because every pound of weight that you gain is the equivalent of 4 pounds of pressure crushing joints below. So in other words, if you gain 10 pounds, you know what, Duane, that's 40 pounds of pressure on your lower back. So if your lower back is out of alignment, I mean, you know what that does firsthand.
And I was gaining almost 20 pounds a year. So, I think I started off at 212. By the time I left college, I was 265, 270. And so even though it was good muscle weight, you're still putting a lot more impact. And plus, the stronger you are, the more power you have, the bigger the impacts, the harder the crushing force on those discs, because you're actually able to generate more force.
And you were big in the weight room, running, squats, lunging, jumping. And then, of course, the NFL season is not a 4-month season. It's a year-round thing, even back then, right?
Constant compression of those discs, yeah. And just with training camp, and we went to real training camp, 28 days, and we hit every single day. We didn't have a day off or have a
the NFL, to go back to those days as a fan. I know nowadays, it's safer for the players, but God, we miss those days.
Oh yeah. Well, I know Dick Vermeil probably in this career, I probably could have played another 20 years. I feel like if I played in this NFL, I feel like there should be a little asterisk for these guys.
All right, Duane. So listen, when I heard you speak, the couple of things that I was captivated listening to you speak, because when you were telling me and telling really the 200-300 doctors that you spoke to about the average career being about 2 years for a defensive lineman, you had an injury before you injured your hip. What did you injure? Was it your foot or your knee?
I had a slight tear of my meniscus in my knee my last year with the Bengals. And then my first year with the Chiefs, I broke my pelvis and I tore my hip labrum. And that kind of cascaded into a torn patellar tendon the following year. I mean, and all of this started with, probably a degenerative disc in my back that went undiagnosed throughout all three of those, and just kind of caused instability. And I just kept kind of playing through it.
And how'd you get that diagnosed, Duane? How'd you finally look to the disc?
I actually got with two doctors in Florida. One, our favorite, Dr. Eric Kaplan, and another, Dr. Mattia, and started using their equipment, the spinal decompression. And that's when I started to realize, not only is this fixing my back, but my knee's getting better, my hips getting better. And that's when the light bulb went off, how kinetic chains work and how everything was interconnected. And a weakness in your spine is going to cause weakness in your leg, which is going to cause weakness in your joints, which is kind of like that whole waterfall theory that everything starts to cascade downhill
And,
once you can let this problem fester.
and when you started to get that under control and decompress that disc, take the pressure off the nerve that went into your glutes, your quads, your hamstrings, and you started to build that power back, you went back and played, right, Duane?
Yeah. So after about I finished the season, and basically for 2 years, I didn't have the decompression. I basically played with a torn hip labrum for 12 games, kept getting shot up with Vicodin, Percocets, Toradol, you name anti-inflammatories. And by the end of the season, that's when I realized, hey, not only did I have the hip issue, but now I have the knee issue. So I literally went through 2 seasons of just playing with injuries and playing on drugs before I got the help that I needed with the spinal decompression. And when the equipment finally came around, the team doctors were kind of skeptical and the trainers were skeptical and nobody really wanted me to do it. And I was just like, listen, not only do I want to play, but I want to be able to walk when I'm 50. So I knew this was something like, I'm done with the drugs. I'm done with waiting on you guys to figure this out. I'm going to go out there proactively and find a way to not only get healthy, but then to stay healthy long term.
You know, Dr. Kaplan, it goes without saying, Dr. Perry Bard, they've pioneered a lot of the work and putting this research out by Dr. Norman Shearley out of Harvard University on how to take care of these discs. Because as you mentioned, you know, the labrum, the disc, the meniscus, all three structures that you injured, there's a reason why they don't heal, and it's because they don't have a good blood supply. And you know, if you talked about a kinetic chain, a kinetic chain is really important to discuss because that's a movement chain that goes from the foot to the knee to the hip to the back, all the way up to the shoulder and all the way up to the neck. And if you have a problem with your foot where you're pronating or turning it over, it's going to cause you to turn your knee in. You're going to be at risk for tearing a meniscus. You're going to be at risk for damaging a labrum and, of course, the disc. So when we talk about these discs, Duane, you know, one of the things that I know a lot of the trainers do, a lot of doctors, is they prescribe medication just to treat the pain. And you know, I was blown away by what you were telling me about the amount of Vicodin that you were prescribed, or even cortisone injections that you had available to you. Talk to us about that, and you know, and how you progressed early on in your career, you know, taking these medications.
Well, literally, you know, I come from a background. I'm an inner city kid. I didn't grow up with doctors and lawyers in my family. I knew nothing about the body other than the very, very basics. I knew nothing about fascia. So when I was going to these doctors, I was kind of trusting them to make, you know, good decisions for me, long term, short term, and in between. But, you know, as I found out, it was just more of the same, more drugs, more injections, more surgeries. And after 2 seasons, it just became like, okay, this is not a way to treat your body. This is not a way to stay healthy. This is not a way to have a good life. Because, you know, then it starts affecting you off the field. You come home, you're on Percocets and Vicodin, you don't have a good family life. You're not feeling good. You're always groggy. You can't study your playbook. You're sleepy all the time. So it just kind of creates this whole cascade of problems off the field, as well as, you know, the problem of being on the field and not being able to perform.
Yeah, you know, and we see the same. I'm going to read a stat here. It says, you know, the over-the-counter painkillers such as acetaminophen, which is Tylenol, ibuprofen, naproxen, they put you at risk. They don't put you at the same risk that those opioids do in terms of addiction, but they don't come without their potential problems. And I think this is going to floor a lot of people when I read this, is that acetaminophen, which is the active ingredient in Tylenol, is considered the safest option by many, yet it's still to blame for about 50% of acute liver failure in the U.S.
Absolutely. And, you know, obviously we feel like every 10 years, you kind of feel like something comes out that says, hey, we were doing it wrong. We were doing it wrong. So in my mind, the only way to do it is non-invasively, drug-free, and to find ways and people that understand how to fix the body without damaging it through these other methods.
Yeah, and you know, when you were talking about non-surgical spinal decompression, the nervous system is really what runs and operates the body. So it's the brain, the spinal cord, and all the nerves that go out to all the different parts of the body. So when athletes talk about, you know, they lose their explosiveness, they lose speed, they lose power, weakness of the glutes, weakness of the quads, weakness of the hamstrings. You know, what do? They just go to the gym and try to train those muscles and make them stronger. They're good with nutrition. But what about the power supply to those muscles? What about actually looking at the spine, looking at those nerves to make sure that they're not interfered with, that they're not pinched? Still to this day, many people and a lot of athletes don't have access to this knowledge. And, you know, you need the examination. You need an x-ray just like you had and took it upon yourself to visit with Dr. Kaplan to find out if you have a problem. So first takeaway from our talk tonight is get yourself checked, right? Get an x-ray, get the MRI, because as Dr. Kaplan says, to see is to know, not to see is to guess. And conditions like these, you know, we never want to guess when it comes to your long-term health, in which you didn't. And that's why you're here today.
Absolutely. Those are the foundations. And anytime you don't have those things, you're just guessing and you're taking shots in the dark, and more than likely you're probably going to do a little more damage than good.
You know, everything that you did in the NFL didn't come without a price tag. You know, the training was difficult, beat up your body. You know, the mental. You know, working with your coaches, everything was stressful. Talk about the treatment itself, Duane. I think you were telling me, which really motivated me to speak to you, is you actually bought one of these decompression tables yourself. Was the treatment painful? Did it take a long time? How did you feel when you were getting treated?
No, it wasn't painful. It didn't take a long time. As a matter of fact, I fell asleep, and it was actually the most comfortable feeling that I felt most of the day. As soon as I came in, I lay on the table, and all of a sudden, find myself 5 minutes later asleep and feeling comfortable and relaxed, and knowing that I was getting better and feeling that release in my spine.
Yeah, and I know you were a healer at heart, because I remember you saying there were guys on the team saying, "God, what's Duane doing? He's better than he was before. He's faster. He's recovering." You started treating some of the guys on your team, or at least letting them know about non-surgical decompression too, right?
Yes, I did. I did. Like probably 50% of the team was at my house, and then sooner or later the team finally broke and started letting chiropractors in and started using the technology.
So you're a pioneer in terms of how you got your body to heal yourself, what you did in the NFL. We were talking about even today. These services are available, but not every team utilizes them.
Right. Yeah, that is so true, Jason. That is, and it's a little bit of a skeptic. There's a disconnect between the medical staff and the chiropractors, and who's going to do what and how it's going to be perceived. And, it's a little bit counterintuitive for them to let somebody take over somebody's care when they feel like that should be their wheelhouse. But we know as players that drug-free, non-invasive healthcare is the better way to fix something versus going through the process of drugs and surgery, which is just temporarily relieving pain.
So what do you say to still the naysayers and the doubters out there, Duane, that say, everybody has herniated discs. Once I have back pain, it's going to be there forever. It's never going to go away. I got to live with it, and I'm even thinking about having surgery.
That's a good business plan for people who want to end up on an operating table. But for people like me who know that that's not a good idea, you're going to need to go out there and find the right technology and the right practitioners to fix you, and not just keep going down that road and accepting the status quo, because that information is probably not the best information long term, because they usually end up in more pain and more failures and more issues.
And it was like Dr. Kaplan said, when you go to a spinal surgeon, they see, when they have a hammer, they see everybody as a nail. So a lot of times we'll have people that come into the practice and say, you know what, I got to go check with my medical doctor. And what I let them know is that not everybody's trained in this. Your medical doctors don't know about this therapy. And right?
Yep.
Duane, we were talking a little bit yesterday too, is that between 30 and 40, half of the oxygen that your body needs to heal, half of the oxygen that your discs need to heal, half the testosterone that your body needs to recover, to recuperate, to get stronger, to get bigger, to lose fat, and half the growth hormone that your body needs to keep the blood vessels soft, to keep your heart healthy, leaves the body. And like I said, it ain't ever coming back. So it's up to us, right? Like, look at it's 9 o'clock at night, you're training. It's up to us to be able to, to keep ourselves healthy and let our patients know and let our friends know that there are things out there that they can do to help themselves.
I'm a true believer in anti-aging, and I know only because I've experienced it for myself. I remember, especially right when I retired, 34, 35, got up to 315 pounds, eating bad, drinking, having, living the best life, but just watching my body just totally go left, and just feeling that decline, the libido go down, the stamina, the energy, the muscle mass, all that stuff just started going away.
And
then when I started,
go. And
then once I found out about, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, and I was able to see not only does it improve me, but just, the things outside of my life, my relationship with my wife, being able to have more fun with the kids and having that energy to go on a vacation and go do things all day long and not, getting irritated and tired at the end of the day, being a grumpy old man.
Yeah.
And so, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, again, not only just help you physically, but it's going to help you emotionally. It's going to help things outside your life. Because like I said, when you're not happy and you don't feel energetic, you're not the same you.
Absolutely.
But when you have all those things together and you're feeling good and your libido's good and you're looking good, you're a new man. And that's what aging is.
That's right. And down here in Miami, the Advanced Physical Medicine and Rehab of Miami, we're one of the leaders in bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. And the question that I always get asked are, what are the side effects? And you know what my answer is, Duane? I said, well, tell me how you feel, because you're not doing them. The side effects are being tired, not healing, wearing out your joints, poor libido, struggling in your relationships. That's what happens when the hormones that you need to stay healthy and keep vital leave your body. So the same hormones that made you healthy, made you an NFL star at 18 to 25, are the same ones that you need at 50, 60, 70, and 80 to make you a star in your later years, but your body can't make enough of them. So
Absolutely. But and that's the great thing of all the things that I guess are not man-made. This is probably the best thing that mankind has come up with.
absolutely. And
To be able to get
it's another thing too, when you go to your doctor to talk about it, is they don't know about it. And the reason being is because they're not drugs that are sold for profit. So you're not going to get a prescription for these bioidentical hormones. You're going to get prescriptions for synthetic drugs, which, like opioids and over-the-counter meds, do not come without side effects, and the side effects of those are serious. Bioidenticals are the exact same hormones that are made in your body. You just don't make enough of them. So we had a couple of weeks ago on the podcast when we had one of the former chiefs of medicine and chief cardiologist from Baptist Hospital, the biggest hospital group down here in South Florida. And he said, you know what, Joe, when I do these open heart surgeries and people bleed, he said, I can't wait for their bodies to make enough red blood cells for them to recover, so we got to bring it in. And he made a great analogy. He said, when these hormones leave your body, you're never going to make enough of them anymore, so you have to bring them in. But you bring in the bioidenticals, the exact same ones that your body makes, and you heal faster, you feel better, all the things that you were talking about.
Absolutely. And I've had 12 surgeries, so I can only imagine how many times I've been depleted and how many times my body's had to up all those hormone levels and get everything back to where it was. And at a certain point, you're just fighting uphill, and we know gravity wins. So You got to help yourself get that jetpack so we can get up that hill.
So what are you doing tonight? I see KC ticket holder behind you. You got the old team colors behind you.
Still representing, still a season ticket holder for my Chiefs. So I'm going to finish up with one more client, and I'm going to get home, get ready for my big Friday, and then hopefully watch.
So what kind of training do you do? Are you working out with clients? Are you getting them in shape?
Yeah, I'm doing personal training. We do EWOT, exercise with oxygen therapy. We do the silks for flexibility. We do endermal therapy, which is another great technology for fascia stretching and also for muscle adhesions. It breaks all that stuff down, increases circulation, elastin and collagen production.
So cutting edge stuff. So Duane, how do people find out about you up there in Maryland?
Okay, so right now I don't have a website put up because I'm only working with a couple of exclusive teams and exclusive people, but probably after January, I'm going to open it up to the general public. But I've tried to kind of stay small and kind of stay contained because I got a real, high net individual that I kind of work with. But now I want to kind of bring this technology to more people and just expand my footprint. And so it'll be fitness and fascia solutions. We're already incorporated in Maryland, but we're going to be, opening up to the public. Right now, we're just kind of a private gym, private club, and exclusive for our members. But I'm going to open up to the general public probably after January.
Yeah, it's amazing what you're doing. I mean, talking about oxygen therapy, which is, the more oxygen you have, the faster you heal. So however you get it into the body, whether it's, through exercise, through masks, whether you inject it like you're doing a prolozone injection to help a joint heal faster. The thing I love about you, Duane, is that everything you do out of the box, but it's all natural, getting the body to heal itself, getting the body to do the heavy lifting. And that's the secret to longevity.
Absolutely. Well, I learned it from my favorite group of guys, my chiropractors. They kind of got me started on the non-invasive drug-free way, and I don't plan on ever going back to the other way.
Yeah. So let's give a shout out again to Disc Centers of America, Dr. Eric Kaplan, Dr. Perry Bard. Down here, you can find us at miamidisccenter.com. We're in Miami, Florida. We're going to be talking to Duane again after the new year once he gets his program up and running and out, happy enough to share it to the general public, because you got to follow this guy. He is cutting edge. The things that he was doing 10 years ago are coming to light today. Listen to this. He played a 10-year NFL career where the average defensive lineman plays 2 years, and it didn't happen by accident. He wasn't lucky. And when you're dealing with back pain, when you're dealing with neck pain, when you have low energy, when you have low drive, you have to do something about it. No one's going to come knocking on your door to fix it and help you live that life that you want. You got to be proactive. You got to get yourself in the game. You got to call Advanced Physical Medicine and Rehab. 305-598-8788 is how you find us down here in Miami, Florida. And we're going to look to hear from Duane again in the new year. Duane, we're going to touch base with you, in 2020. But I do want to wish you a very blessed Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'm so glad that you joined us tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Joe, and the same to you and your team there in Florida, and even your folks back in Texas. And
Thanks.
Don't forget, sometimes you have to pay for the things that are really good for you. So insurance doesn't always foot the bill for the things that you really need. So be willing to put some skin in the game.
And that's something one of the last things that we spoke about today. Duane, I love you. You're a healer by heart. That's how we're connected. So I wish you all the best, and we're going to talk real soon, okay?
All right. Thanks, Dr. Joe.
All right. Be good. That was just Duane Clemons from Maryland talking about non-surgical spinal decompression, talking about bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, all things that we specialize and we dedicate our practice to down here at Advanced Physical Medicine of Miami and Miami Disc Centers of America. Duane brought up some excellent points, and I do want to touch on them, in that between 30 and 40, I can't say this enough, half of the testosterone, half of the growth hormone, and half of the oxygen that your body needs to heal, that your body needs to recover, that your body needs to stay healthy, leaves the body, and it is never coming back. And as I mentioned to Duane, people always ask me, well, what are the side effects of bringing bioidentical testosterone into the body? What's the side effects of getting your body to produce more growth hormone? What's the side effects of adding oxygen into a joint and unlocking your stem cells' ability to help your body heal? And my answer is always the same. Well, what are the side effects of not having it in your body? Tell me how you feel right now. When you're run down, when you're tired, when your knees are killing you and you can't go up and down the stairs, when your back is killing you and you can't sleep or sit in your favorite chair, those are the side effects of those testosterone, growth hormone, and oxygen necessities leaving your body. So, the choice is this: age, wear out, degenerate, or anti-age, get your body to heal by itself. That's what the key to longevity is all about. Today, we saw in the news that people are beginning to walk again using stem cell therapy. There's doctors out there, there's people out there that say stem cells don't work. And as I mentioned in earlier shows, that's like saying you don't believe in gravity. Stem cells always work. They're in your body. You'd only live a day or two without them. And, stem cells are cells that exist in every single part of your body. They're in your shoulders, they're in your knees, they're in your hips. But the thing about them is that there's a lot less of them in your body as you age. So, when you're developing knee pain in your 40s and 50s, and, you're walking around the mall and you see people in their 80s and 90s in canes and walkers, they didn't start out that way. Everybody started out healthy. Everybody was able to walk and do the things that they wanted to without pain. But as those stem cells leave your body, as those essential hormones leave your body simply doesn't heal. And if you want to be a statistic, if you want to be a number, keep doing what you're doing right now. But at Advanced Physical Medicine and Rehab in Miami Disc Centers of America, people that come to see us change their lives. And by adding these cells back into the body, by looking at blood work and finding out if you're a candidate to bring up these hormone levels naturally, you too can get back into the game just like Duane did. Duane mentioned that at the heart of his NFL career, he had some pretty significant injuries that, let alone being an NFL athlete, if this was the average person that is an athlete that works out in the gym, they may never come back to doing the things that they love to do. He came back at a high level and played another several years in the NFL. So these therapies work. You just need to find out what type of therapy and what you're a candidate for. So the most common injuries that we treat are knees and shoulders and backs and hips. We have people that fly in from all parts of the country to see us, people that drive up to see us from the Keys, people that drive across the state to see us. And the reason why they do that is because what we do works. At Disc Centers of America, the research that we use to treat our back pain patients is all based on the work of Dr. Norman Shealy at Harvard University. He set the protocols to treat lower back pain by using specific pulls, specific tables, and by using specific techniques to unload the disc, to get nutrients back into the disc, and to get the spine to heal naturally and normally. Not all decompression is the same. So, you want to go to an expert, someone who's certified nationally in this technique, which all of us are here at Advanced Physical Medicine and Rehab and Miami Disc Centers of America. Lower back pain, knee pain, shoulder pain, and hip pain. The best gift that you can give yourself is the gift of health. Coming up into Christmas, do yourself a favor. Check us out at our website, apmrmiami.com and miamidisccenter.com, and find out how you can give yourself the gift of health for the upcoming new year. We're going to be talking a lot more about disc pain, lower back pain, how to recover your health naturally and safely, how to boost your hormone levels so you could lose weight for the beginning of the year, how you could put on a ton of muscle, drop the body fat, and be beach ready in February instead of waiting until July or maybe never. So check us out on our next podcast. We're going to be following back up with Duane. Check out our YouTube link below. Have a great holiday season. We're going to be back sooner than Christmas, but catch us next time on Healthy Dose. I'm Dr. Joe Gambardella, and I'll see you next time.